Only a few states hold as much importance in the presidential election as Michigan. Republicans and Democrats have traded victories there in the last two presidential elections. And its 15 electoral votes will make it one of the most hotly contested states this year. In 2020, Joe Biden won Michigan by about 154,000 votes. But while he fought Donald Trump to a near draw in all age groups over 30, President Biden won decisively amongst 18 to 29-year-olds. Scott MacFarlane met with young voters in Michigan who are likely to play an outsized role in the state and this election.
A soccer prodigy at the top of her class, Jalise Anthony was recruited by 4 Division I schools before choosing Oakland University outside Detroit last year. But if you think she was sought after then, just wait till November.
Have you ever voted before?
Nope. I just turned 18 last year.
First one?
Yep.
She's a new voter, open-minded and uncommitted.
I'm excited not because of the candidates, but because I'm interested in politics and it's my first time getting to vote. But I think if you don't have that background and you don't already care, you're not going to want to turn out and vote to like a 2020 rematch.
You know they're going to come after you. They want to recruit you. They want your vote. They want you to show up early. They want you to vote for the whole party or the whole slate. Do you recognize that?
Yeah, but I don't really think that a lot of people in our generation care about that unless they really have been educating themselves along the way.
In 2022, no state had more of its college students vote than Michigan, providing the winning margin for candidates up and down the ballot. But in 2024,
people are just so polarized now.
There appears to be less fuel in the tank.
The polarization in how the last election cycles have gone has either invigorated them or made them totally check out of politics.
We sat with a group of 5 college students from this university, which sits deep in the suburbs that are critical to winning the election.
Hey, Mark.
All of whom say they follow politics.
Raise your hand if you think you're a conservative.
That's Lucas Zielinski, who previously supported Trump, but rejects false claims the election was stolen. And Max Recknagel, a football player who says the border and gun rights are key issues.
Raise your hand if you think you're progressive.
That's Janice and Natalie Pratula, a poli-sci major, and Peyton Buckey, who works for the school newspaper.
But you all are disappointed by the likely candidates. Why is that?
Well, we gave Trump a shot. We don't like him. Biden can't get through his speech. That was 2020, and now we're gearing up for the exact same thing again in 2024. It's shocking how we got here. They don't want the rematch.
It's going to be my first presidential election, so I'm excited for that. But like actually figuring out who I'm going to mark down is what I'm like a little bit nervous about.
They know their issues.
The environment and education.
The economy and then staying out of wars for me.
I say the vicious polarization in politics today.
But they're unsure how enthusiastic their classmates will be to show up.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely people out there who don't want to vote. They think it's too big of a task.
They say they're less inclined to even talk politics.
I think the thing that will decrease voter turnout this election is fear.
People are afraid to share their own opinions. They're afraid that they're going to be labeled as something.
And are already cynical about candidates who break their word.
There's been a lot of overpromising. So it's like he could say what he wants, but what did you do during your presidency to show that?
Those promises don't always get fulfilled.
They say they're hungry for other options and for politicians to be more moderate and practical.
I self-identifying conservative. I feel like I could sit with all 5 of you right now and we could solve the world's issues. Maybe not the world's. The United States' issues pretty handily.
What do you think about the tone the candidates are using?
I think the tone is very aggressive, very demeaning, and again, very divisive. And
is it a turnoff?
Yes.
Michigan has a thick veil of dark blue near Detroit. It's a sea of red up north and in much of the West, which has a strong presence of evangelicals. The pivotal patches of light blue and purple are near the major college campuses.
We are going to make America great again.
A narrow win in Michigan was pivotal for Donald Trump's victory in 2016, and his narrow defeat here helped cost him the White House in 2020. The state is aggressive about registering student voters, staging competitions with prizes for the most prolific schools. But even if the young voters do return in droves, that doesn't mean their votes are easy to predict.
Have any of you looked up or thought about third-party candidates?
I would say so, given how contentious both candidates are and how the last two elections have been. I feel like a third party is more valuable and probably more likely.
People, they have this polarized option, but they don't know which one they really need to go with, and that's why a third party is so tempting.
With no one certain about the impact of the war in the Middle East on Michigan's young voters.
Is Gaza, you think, a volatile issue
Yes.
for young voters?
Yes,
Why?
because so many people are being killed and injured.
And each of these five insist they and classmates are turned off by the ugliness of politics this year.
We don't have to fill the world with hate in order to grab a win. It's something that we can do with our intelligence, with thoughtful debate and civil discourse.
David Dulio is not just a political scientist, he's a professor here and has warned his students they're going to be targeted.
We are going to be inundated
With a wave of ads from candidates, micro-targeted students' phones on social media sites, YouTube and TikTok.
Does the saturation they're about to experience make them more inclined to want to be a part of the system or turn out politics altogether?
Let's put it this way, I think there are diminishing returns. Frankly, you know, the college kids here in Michigan, around the country, look at Biden and Trump and say, I got these two old white guys. I don't relate to them. They probably don't relate to me. You know, I'm not inspired.
On this college campus, the candidates will find open minds. But with just 2 partial semesters left until the polls open here, the candidates have fleeting time to change those minds. For CBS Saturday Morning, Scott MacFarlane, Rochester Hills, Michigan.
A lot of what we heard from those college students is also what you hear from adults beyond college that you talk to, too. Very similar themes.
It's amazing how differently they believe and yet how the same way
Core
they believe in
things,
so many
yeah.
different ways and just frustration.
It's worrying how cynical they are because this is the age when you are the most civically engaged for a lot of people. But they are still so well informed and considerate that you think the future is hopefully in good hands.
You hope they're well informed because there also are a lot of issues where there's a lot of history that gets lost and that you need to be well informed on for accurate decisions or for at least mindful decisions, too. Voters in 15 states head to the polls on Super Tuesday to vote. We'll have coverage all day on CBS News, streaming, and we'll wrap everything up with a primetime special beginning at 10 p.m. Eastern right here on CBS.